Hello, everyone. Happy Wednesday. Is it Wednesday now? Or no, it's still Tuesday. How's everyone doing? I hope you guys had an amazing day. What did I do today? I went to the park. Um, had to do my hair over again, and now I'm about to be live with you guys. And I wanted to talk for a minute. I have two things, two different topics that I want to address, but it is going to be not a long live. It's going to be short. And I know I always say that, but an hour tops. That's about it. But I wanted to have a discussion with you guys. So, hey, that girl. Hey, Max. Hey, Shama. Debbie. How are you guys all doing? Hey, Save Robbie. It's so good to see you guys. So yeah, I'm going to be addressing two topics. So the first topic that I want to talk about is more or less in response to a video that obviously was called out about me. It was sent to me a couple times today, and at first, I kind of went back and forth with it. Like I wasn't going to address it, but then I was going to address it. But I think it's important to address, even though people are entitled to their own opinions, and it really doesn't bother me. But in the same sense, I'm gonna address it because there's a child involved, and I've addressed this once before. But I think it's gonna be. Oh, hold on. Am I still echoing? Let me know if I'm still echoing. I've addressed this topic before, but I'm going to address it again because when I addressed the topic, it was hold on. Okay, am I still echoing? When I addressed this topic before, um, somebody took what I said and flipped the narrative, pretty much twisted my words. And hey, true crime analyst, it's so good to see you. It's so good to see you. So my words were twisted, and hold on. Because my words were twisted, I want to um, address it because it was twisted, and I'm tired of it being twisted. But after this is the last time I'm talking about it because I don't have time for this. Um, hold on, I'll back out and come back in. Thank you. Let, let me know if you guys can hear me. Um, what was I saying? Oh, so I addressed it before, but like I said, what I talked about, it was taken and twisted and turned, and it's a prime example of the hypocrisy of NC's people. That's pretty much what it's coming down to. Then I also want to address something else because you guys know that I talk about and bring awareness about racism, homophobia. Um, you know, obviously these things and these topics mean a lot to me, and I'll always bring awareness about these things. It's like that's never going to stop. And I want to talk about one other thing. So let's get started. If you need to reach, oh, hey, Without Borders, it's so good to see you in here. I hope you guys are having a good day. Okay, let's do this. All right, so I thought that I was going to be able to leave it up, but I guess not. So I'm going to have to bring it up again. So hold on one second, you guys. Okay, so now I'm gonna share my screen. Hey, grouchy mama bear, how are you? Yeah, my kids are still up. Can you hear how crazy they're still up right now? But I think because they went to the park and they're just all riled up. Okay, so let me share my screen real quick. Okay, so you guys are gonna see me skip through some things because I just want to make some key points here, like I said, and then we'll move on from this. Are gonna see me skip oh God, some things. I hate my voice. Okay, okay, hold on. I'm gonna mute this so it doesn't echo or anything. Hey to everybody who's coming in. Thank you for joining. All right, so let's get started. But last night we were on her panel, and it was me, allegedly with Britt, of course, because it's her channel, and Megan VR. And this is just one of the first things I'm going to address because I feel like this is the most important and one of the only reasons why I'm addressing this. Two very important reasons why I'm addressing this, and I'll get to the second one in a minute, but I want to talk about this because I feel like it is important. So basically, we were on her panel and we were mostly talking about, false things, lies that were being told on me, lies that were being told on allegedly with Britt, Megan VR, and trying to clear that up or at least give partly of our story. And a sub was asking a question in the chat and she came up to ask a question because at times we were speaking of NC. The question that was asked is if we thought she should be in. Okay, so you guys know pretty much what happened with that. We were on allegedly with Brittany's channel. It was we were on allegedly with Brittany's channel. On her panel, it was allegedly with Brittany, Megan VR, Just Carrie, myself, and Pink. And she asked a question of whether we thought that M, which is NC's child, should be in foster care. So let's continue with this. In foster care. Now, the question.
It's Saturday. There's work to be done. You need a powerful tool that can stand.
Was asked, I guess, out of her own curiosity. But today, obviously, we were lied on saying that we were discussing her child the whole time during Brittany's live. Okay, so you guys see what this says here. Oh my gosh. Sorry about my child in the background. Okay, so have no fear. Not only is she discussing this question about someone's child, she's going to play it. but you played it too. Okay. I played it to show a point, but you played it too. So the irony in that is pretty things that make you go, right? Like you're playing it too. So then what does that make you? See, the problem is that NC had no problem with us defending her child when we were cool with her, when we were on her side, or when we were all cool with her. But since it was on allegedly with Brittany's panel, someone who publicly speaks against NC, not all the time, but she does. But since we were on her panel, it was turned into something negative. And regardless, I'm always going to defend what's right, because at the end of the day, you can sit there and talk about that we were discussing your child, but in the same sense, we were defending your child. It was damned if we do, damned if we don't. Because if we would have chose not to answer that question, then it would have been, oh my God, like they probably think that, or they're trying to insinuate that this child belongs somewhere else or something like that. But because we chose to defend her and answer that question, we're talking negatively about her child. And that's the way the narrative was spun. That's the only reason why I addressed it, because the narrative was spun as if we were talking negatively about her and her child. It's no secret that a lot of people have a strong opinion about everything that goes on with that whole thing. And my position still stands. I'm always going to defend a child. Always. I even defended her other child when with the whole turning her in or something like that for college or something like that. Like I'm always going to defend what is right. So if somebody asked me that question, and if it was the tables were turned and somebody else asked a question about me as a parent and somebody was defending me, I'm not going to have a problem with that. But then when it comes to the mind of NC, it doesn't matter if you're defending her or whether you're talking badly about her. There's always going to be a problem with it because you're not standing with her. But she had no problem with us hopping all around defending you and defending your children when we're on your side. It's the hypocrisy for me. It's always the hypocrisy of, if you're not standing with her, then you're always wrong. No matter what it is that you speak on, you're always wrong, because all five of us on that panel, I think it was five or four, five, I think, all of five of us, it came from a genuine place. You know what I'm saying? Like we were basically saying, no, absolutely not. Don't know why that question was asked. And regardless, it was asked, and we defended her. We defended the fact that we don't agree with that. It's not anybody's place to talk about if a child belongs in foster care or not. That's just the way that it is. So because we were defending her, we are the bad people. We are villainized because we were discussing or speaking of her. And to me, that's the hypocrisy in it. That's the hypocrisy. And before I continue, because I'm pretty much talking about all these key points right now, another thing is, if you're going to call out one, because the name of this channel is I call them as I see them. If you're going to call out one, then call every, it's obvious that this is a channel that's in defense and very biased, because if you're going to call out one, then call everybody out, because that's the problem I have with her and even her supporters, because you guys act like she never talks about other people's children. Okay. And this is not a deflection. This is called hypocrisy. If you're going to call out one, call them all out. At the end of the day, she was sitting on her panel having a discussion about Granny's Watching's daughter. But that's okay, right? It's okay for her to do it. It doesn't matter. She was even talking about Granny's Watching's parenting. Okay? But that's okay for her to do that. That's why don't call nobody else out if you're not going to hold her accountable as well. Because she was talking, she was describing a picture. She didn't have to describe that picture of somebody else's child. I don't care who's seen the damn picture. She didn't have to describe it, but she did. But I don't see nobody else calling her out on the things that she does. But here it is in defense of her, and then you have her saying they were discussing my child and they said mentally ... That is trying to insinuate that we were discussing her child in a negative way, and we weren't. We weren't discussing her child in a negative way. We weren't talking about her that long. We were asked a question and we defended her, period. Even though we don't like her, we still defended her because what's right is right and what's wrong is wrong. At the end of the day, I guess we could have said, no, I choose not to answer that question. But I promise you guys, if we would have stood there on that panel and said, we don't want to talk about that, we refuse to answer this question, then guess what? What would have happened? She would have turned that into something too, because that's what she does. Let's continue. I'm only going to show a couple parts of this and then that's it. Megan has children. Brittany has children. Who are we to talk about her child? Oops, sorry. I forgot to put it on mute. So because we answered a question in defense of her, you're right. We were talking about her child because we were asked a question and we answered it. How is it that you're turning that into something bad? That's what I'm saying. But if we were cool with her defending her child, it would have been okay. That's the problem I have. It's the hypocrisy for me. And if you're going to call out one, you need to call everyone out. And that's not what you're doing here. What you're doing is you are flipping narratives. You are taking one thing, turning it into something else, and picking out every single thing that I mistaken or whatever you want to call it, that I took for a mistake or I may have got wrong, and you're trying to use it against me. And to me, this is the prime example of what people who defend her do. If you're going to call it as you see it, then call it as you see it, but make sure you call everything else out that you see too. And that's not what you're doing here. All right, hold on. But that's what she does. That's what she always does. She twists and turns things to make herself look like the victim. In no way, shape, or form does it faze me what that woman says about me. I don't care. She could talk. None of us did. And when you yes, gaslighting. So you're gonna ask that question because you're still backing Natasha, right? You're still on her side. I can clearly see that from looking at your channel. So yes, a month ago, yeah, she was on my panel and I defended her against cancel culture, all of that stuff. But let me go down a list for you of the people who used to defend NC. Myself, Save Robbie, Siren, Kelly the Advocate. I don't know. Let me see. Mandy C. A long time ago, Voices, Scarlett. There is a lot of creators who have defended her and then were threw away like garbage and treated as if they were nothing to her because we weren't. We never were. And then you change your mind and you start seeing things for what they truly are. Sorry if that's never happened to you, and I hope and pray that it never does happen to you. My advice to you is stay clear of her. You want to defend her, that's fine. But don't ever defend her on you can defend her on your panel, but if you hop on hers or whatever the situation is and you disagree with her one time and she turns on you, don't say I told you so, because I don't like to say I told you so. I really don't. I don't like it when people say it to me. A lot of people did say it to me when that happened to me. But what I'm trying to say is, yes, you're right. When I was cool with her a month ago, I think it was April 21st, I think my mom told me, you're right, I was defending her along with a lot of other people. And then she just screwed them over. So save that bullshit for somebody who cares, because that's not what matters here. That's not what we're talking about. We're not talking about when I was cool with her. The point is that now we're living in the now. We're not living in the past. We're living in the now. And I have every right to call out whatever it is that I want to call out about her or anybody else, because this is a commentary channel and I can do what the fuck I want and talk about what the fuck I want, just like you can. But one thing I will say is that I'm not a true crime channel. I talk about true crime, but I also talk about drama. And I also talk about anything I want. That's what commentary is. That's the beauty of commentary. But that's not a point, nor does that have anything to do with what you're discussing now. That's a deflection. Because I was a friend. She clearly did not hold me in the same regard. Thank you, Siren. That's how it works. You get screwed over. And like I said, I hope and pray that it doesn't happen to you either. But if it does, like I said, don't say I told you so. Okay, let's continue. I'm only going to touch on another couple key points, and that's it.
Go that way.
Hold on. Sorry, you guys. When you go that way and you start talking about that, thank Megan. I love you. I love all you guys. You guys are.
Each of you on panel.
If you shop on Amazon, you should use this tool. It's a browser extension that...
And there are 4 of you besides myself. Do you think... Look, I don't want to say it. Brittany,
don't sugarcoat it.
Girl, speak your mind.
Yes.
All right. Do you guys think that M is in enough distress that she should be taken from NC?
No. I don't. I'm a mandated reporter.
Okay, so just like I played it to prove a point, you just played it too. Okay. Anyway, talk about hypocrisy. But anyway, that was very clear. We said no. Like, a lot of people have their opinions, and I don't agree with it. I don't ever think that we don't have a place to talk about a child being taken. That's just something that should never, ever happen. We don't know anything that goes on in the home, but there are people who have their opinions about it. We thought that we were doing the right thing by being in defense of her, but we probably should have known that being in defense of her, it doesn't matter. But does that mean that I would change my position? No. So I was asked a question and I answered it because I was standing up for what was right. And I speak for myself, and I'm sure the other 4 ladies feel the exact same way. Why the question was asked, I'm not sure, but it was asked and we answered it. And I wouldn't answer it any other way at any other time, and I wouldn't change it. So quit trying to flip the narrative to appease your audience, which is basically all Natasha supporters, and quit trying to walk around discrediting people by bringing up a child with 5 people who are in defense of her. And it's funny how you're picking with things that I got wrong, because I don't remember, nor did I remember somebody talking about being a mandated reporter. And then as I listened back, and also I was corrected by Megan VR in the chat, and also someone else might have corrected me too, but they brought to my attention that Jess Carey is a mandated reporter, and she gave her opinion about it as well. And I'm sure she wouldn't do it any differently either, because it was in defense of her. And that's what people should do. I think if it was maybe some other people who feel Everybody feels differently about things. But I'm going to touch on one last point, and then we're going to move on from this. All right.
I'm a mandated reporter, and I've seen nothing in this community that I need to call and report.
But wait, I don't. Here's the thing, especially with you, Pink. What I don't know what your nationality is. Mine is half Indian and black. Okay.
Okay,
So-
bitch. That's why I love you. Oh God, look at me. I'm gonna make a fool of myself. I'm bringing this live. We're gonna have to fucking
You're
private
fine.
it. But bitch, dude. Okay. All right,
Yeah.
go ahead.
I don't, but when it comes down to it, there were times that I've been on Natasha's panel and I've asked her, like, hey, if you ever want, for me to talk to M or anything like that, because I know how it is when you are growing up with a family that's different than you, right?
Especially as a teen.
As a teen, right? I
Yes.
understand that and I feel for her, but I don't think that she's in a dangerous situation. Absolutely not.
I don't either. I agree.
Mentally, I think that there's some things that maybe, but as far as danger,
Natasha is gonna, she's gonna call me out. I don't either. I agree.
Mentally, I think that there's some things that maybe, but as far as danger,
Natasha is gonna, she's gonna call me out after this. Let it fly, baby girl. Let it fly. But
I don't think she
what I'm
will.
gonna say is, no, she absolutely will. But if
Okay, let's start off with this. I don't think like Natasha. I don't think like her. If somebody was defending me as a parent, I would not call her out for that. If somebody was talking about me as a parent, I wouldn't call her out and be mad at her for that. Okay? Sorry. And the point of this whole video, I guess, is discussing a child, basically. And to me, we answered a question in defense of a child. You're trying to insinuate that I meant mental. Right, Goose, that's what I'm saying. You're trying to insinuate that I meant something mental. And this is something that I've always talked to Natasha about, because I know how growing up, it could be different when you grow up somewhere and everybody looks differently than you. I've talked to her about this on her panel, period. And that's pretty much what I discussed. So I'm talking about mentally. That can be hard growing up with seeing people that are differently than you. But like I said, in defense of NC again, like I said, she told me that she does have great role models in her life. So that's the end of it. You know what I'm saying? You're trying to flip things and spin the narrative, and don't come in here. And that's the whole thing, not pissed me off, but that's the whole thing that I wanted to address. The argument concerning children are usually about their well-being, and parents don't like to be called out. So they replace criticism about their parenting with criticism of their children. Anything to be the victim. That's what I'm saying. And this is not a victim situation, because we were defending her. And that's the problem that I have. I can see if we were talking badly, but the narrative is being twisted that all of us were just talking about this child and discussing this child. But to me, there's a difference between discussing something and somebody asking you a question. I mean, you're still discussing it, but somebody asking you a question and you're defending that person. That's the problem that I have with her as the narcissist that she is, and the people who make excuses that surround her and enable her. This is not a victim situation. It's not. She's not a victim. We were not talking about her child in a bad way or anything like that. We answered a question in defense of her. And like I said, she had no problem with us discussing her child. Nobody else did when we were defending her, standing by her. But because we don't want anything to do with her anymore, No matter what we say, we're just the bad people, right? We're always going to be the bad people. So of course, I ain't saying another damn thing. You know what I'm saying? You got my word on that. I will never defend anything when it comes to her, because trust and believe, there's a whole bunch of people that discuss, that situation. And I don't like that, because obviously it's no one's place to talk about where this child belongs. And a lot of people discuss it, just like when the journal was read. I do know that, and apologize for that, and it should have never been done. But the point is, just because he said sorry, it doesn't take away that people still heard what he said. Let's just say people still know what he read. So people are going to have their own opinions. And I've always looked at it like it's still nobody's place to talk about this child and not being right where she belongs. But that's just my opinion. But the point is that obviously now, if it's asked behind the scenes, that's different. But publicly, I will never defend that woman again, because no matter what, she's always going to try to find something to flip things, twist the narrative, and she's the victim. Even though people are defending her or trying to be in defense of her, basically trying to get people to say, stop this, quit saying this stuff, because it's nobody's place to talk about a child being in foster care. Nobody's place. She's right where she belongs, but you can guarantee you'll never, ever hear me defend that woman again, because you're damned if you do, damned if you don't with her. And I'm tired of it. That's what she does. She walks around playing the victim. This victim, she's a perpetual victim, and the shit is ridiculous. All of that came from a genuine place. But of course, she villainized it and turned it into us saying, oh my God, they were over there discussing my child. Because let me tell you something. You don't know me. So how can you make the assumption, just as any one of you would call Natasha out if she asked the same question about your child? First of all, we didn't ask the question. Okay? I didn't ask the question. Megan VR didn't ask the question. Just Carrie didn't ask the question. Allegedly with Britt didn't ask the question. We were asked the question by Pink, and we answered it. Okay? Do you really think that if somebody asked that question about me, that I would be mad if somebody defended me? Are you freaking crazy? I would be like, thank you. You know what I'm saying? Like I probably would or maybe wouldn't acknowledge it, but you don't know me. You don't know what I would get mad about and what I wouldn't. So don't put words into my mouth, for one. And for two, I wouldn't get mad about that. Now, if she's bashing me and talking badly about me and me being a parent, especially because she don't know me, then that's a different story. That's a different story. But if you're in defense of me and somebody asked her that question and she defended me like, absolutely not, and everybody said, no, 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 well, then guess what? No, I'm not going to call you out on that. So don't make assumptions about somebody that you don't even know. Okay? Let's start with that. I'm going to show one more clip of this, and then I'm going to turn this off. So tell me where I said anything. Tell me where I said anything about that her child would be any kind of danger or anything like that. Tell me where Megan said that. Tell me where allegedly Brittany said that. No. That is, sometimes it can mess you up as far as. What do you mean somebody who enjoys fighting with? What does that have to do with anything? And that was that point was pointless. Let's put it that way. I will never stick up for Natasha or her family again. Not after this shit got twisted up like a pretzel. Exactly. Thank you, Megan. That's all we were trying to do. But like I said, from now on, like if somebody was to ask me that, behind the scenes or whatever, that's different. Which nobody probably would. But in the same sense, I will never, and I have, when they were trying to say or call Hannah's college or something like that. I don't agree with that. I believe that you should stick between you have a problem with NC, stick with her. Don't take it nowhere else with her family or anything else. I'm totally against that. But you will never hear me speak another word in defense of that woman again. Again. Okay? Because at the end of the day, would I do it differently? No. But I still won't ever do it again because it doesn't matter with her. It's damned if you do, damned if you don't. If we would have refused to answer that question, she would have found a problem with that too. She would have found a problem with that. She would have been like, why didn't they answer the question? Them not answering that question implies that this and that. I can hear it now. But because we chose to answer the question in defense of her, we're discussing her. And the way that she made it seem mentally, ... I didn't say anything about mentally that she didn't belong with her or anything. And that's what I'm going to show you in a second. I said that I understand how mentally growing up as a Black child, it can be very difficult growing up in a white household. And I told her that. And then she reassured me that she makes sure that she has positive role models in her child's life that looks exactly like her. And I was like, oh, that's awesome. That's wonderful. And that was said. Once that was said, the conversation was over. Period. But you want to twist and turn, flip the narrative, and to make this look like just because we're not on her side, if we're on her side, walking around defending her, she'd have no problem with this. But because we're defending her but want nothing to do with her, we just want to stand up and for what's right and do the right thing, we're the villains no matter what. That's why I say it's damned if you do, damned if you don't. So you better believe I'm going to respond to something like that because your twist and turning the narrative is kind of disgusting. Get a life. Because I've noticed and watched, the whole video and also looked through your channel and I see, obviously, you're a Natasha channel. Okay. I don't see you calling her out or holding her accountable for anything. And let's be clear here. She has spoken badly. Well, not even badly. I don't want to say badly, but she has spoken about other people's kids. But that's okay. She has blatantly spoken about people's kids. You don't describe what another child looks like, no matter what. I don't care who's seen that picture of Granny's Watching's daughter. She still had no right to describe the photo and then talk about this woman as a parent. That's not her place, but that's okay. That's the problem that I have. If you're going to call out one, call them all out. Call her out. But you don't. Everyone else is always wrong and she is always right. In no way, shape, or form am I sitting here saying that we weren't discussing. We were asking a question. We were asked a question and we answered it in defense of her. It's really that simple, but you turned it into something that it's not. To stir the shit pot. That's what you did. Find something else to do. Not being
she wasn't being abused physically, but mentally, ...
Okay, that was the problem. Those were her words, and that's what I had a problem with. She wasn't abused. What are you talking about? But mentally, ... What the fuck are you talking about? We never said that mentally anything. She took it and twisted it and perpetuated her own narrative. Like I said, and I suggest this to everybody, don't be in defense of that woman. Just don't. Because if you do, no matter what, she's going to flip it and turn it any way that she can to make you look like you're the most horrible person in the world. Okay? And then she's going to make sure that other people make you look horrible too. Let me read some of these comments. Using clips from a banned person, especially transformative material as critique, report, study, is not against TOS. Plenty of infamously banned YouTube people have had video made about them. Well, I don't know what you're talking about with that. I'll look forward to the day where I don't have to see these lives keep her recliner moist. And you're right. But when it comes to that, kids, I will always address that. And I don't think Pink was being malicious with the question either. I think it was a true concern of curiosity. That's true. I agree with that. I'm not sure why she asked the question, but, we just wanted to, answer it in defense of her. That's all. Oh, thank you for the super sticker, Debbie Lowe. I appreciate you, beautiful. Thank you. If this channel creator is going to do videos about this, why not cover videos where NC talks about creators' child's parenting? That's what I'm saying. If you're going to call out one, call out everyone, because at the end of the day, we thought that we were just, trying to do something right. We were trying to be in defense of this woman because so many people have definitely said these things, and there's so many things out there that people do that we are all 100% against. So because we just chose to defend her, we're automatically the villains because we don't support her. But just because we don't support her doesn't mean that we're not going to defend what's right. And it didn't have to be flipped into this narrative. But it's flipped into this narrative to discredit people. That's all that the whole situation was about. Teaya, there was nothing that would end well. Even if you hadn't answered the question, you would have been accused of allowing it in your chat. Exactly. And it wasn't even my chat. When you open a door first, you can't be mad when people walk through it. That's true. Pretty sure she was on your panel 5 weeks ago. Yes. Not 2 weeks ago. Right? It's very obvious from the outside looking in that people look at her as more of a friend when they are there for her, but she doesn't seem to do the same in return. It's sad. No, she doesn't. I thought you guys were indirectly trying to talk about also not going real life, like same dum-dums do here on YouTube. Right. Like, I just don't think that people should ever say that, because it's not anybody's place to ever say those things about anyone. Hey, didn't know you were live. I thought it was tomorrow. No, that's okay. I accidentally scheduled it wrong, Megan VR. I'm sorry. I always do that. I'm over NC perpetual self-imposed. That would mean being impartial, difficult for a biased mind. But what's bias? I will never stick up for Natasha. Okay, I talked about that, and stay on YouTube. Stop going real life. CPS, schools, jobs, etc. I agree. Damned if you do, damned if you don't. You need to go to sleep. Yes, if you need to go to sleep, Megan, we're good. Yeah, caught up. Hell, she was cussing me out today and haven't done anything to her. She was cussing you out? That girl? Self-aware. If the clips is not transformed straight from downloaded NC video, it is TOS. If it is transformed by another creator and then replayed, it is not against TOS. Well, this is my video that she's playing or critiquing. The only reason that she is doing this, in my opinion, is because she is against us. Who attacks people that defend them or their family? There are so many others that would have answered differently. Amen. And that's going to end me talking about that. Right. That's all I have to say. It's just because we're not, we don't like her. She did all of us wrong. So we don't want anything to do with her. But we're still the type of people that stand up for what we feel is right. And neither Megan VR, allegedly with Britt, Just Carrie, or myself, in no way was that malicious. We just answered the question to defend someone that is constantly scrutinized and constantly brought up in a way where they're talking about how they don't think that she is, this and that. I don't want to get into it too much, but I'm saying that, everyone's entitled to their own opinion. And this video And this person, to me personally, as you look through the channel, and I will link the channel in the description below, but this is a channel that is more or less in defense of NC. And no matter what is said, like literally, I had forgot that Carrie stated that she was a mandated reporter. I was corrected, but in no way did I just purposely do that. I forgot. But that was picked apart like, oh, you're lying. You know the shit. Like, it's crazy the way that the narrative is always flipped to stir the shit pots. But what I do want to say is, and I'm done discussing this after that, is no matter what you do, even if you're a person who stands up for what's right, just make sure you don't answer any questions in defense of her, because she's always going to villainize it. She's always going to turn you into the bad person. The narrative is always going to be twisted and flipped. No matter, even if you do come from a genuine place, it doesn't matter. It'd be different if we, and yes, there is a lot of people that would have answered that question way, way differently. We answer the question in defense of her, and somehow or some way we are the bad people. So from now on, I'm never doing that again. So that's never going to have to be worried about. I will never defend that woman in any way, shape, or form. And it wasn't really us defending her. You know, it's just defending what's right. What's right is right, and what's wrong is wrong. So that's it. I'm done with that. Okay. One more thing, and then we can end this. Okay, oh wait, okay, let me read this comments. Yes, I got messages and clips. She is wild. I legit said 2 sentences that were true and even threw in the benefit of the doubt for her shady self. Nope, got cussed. I even took up for she never listened to her, but my God, she sounds so self-hating. She is. She's full of hate. And that's what I'm saying. Like I see on your channel, call it as I see it. I see on your channel how you're calling out mommy ramblings for racism. You're calling out this person for racism, but I don't see in there how you're calling out Natasha for her racism. That's what's weird to me. Like, it's very obvious that you're biased. You're very biased, and you don't call it as you see it. Because if you called it as you've seen it, then I would see a video in there where you are calling NC out for the people that she has discussed. But you're not doing that, are you? You know, you're a biased channel, period. Okay, so let me go ahead and do something else here.
Oh, it's just me.
Okay. So, it's okay, Megan Burr. I didn't know her channel. She's mean. I'm not. End of story. Exactly. What was I going to? Let me share my screen again. Share. I just want to talk about one other thing really, really quick. Not quick. I mean, this is a serious subject. Okay. So I want to talk about this. Like I said, you guys know that I am no stranger to calling out racism, homophobic slurs, all of these kinds of things. So I have to call this out because this is just, I'm sorry, I will always call these things out. And if you're sensitive, I'm going to give a trigger warning, but if you're sensitive to like homophobic slurs or anything like that, please exit out of here. And I love you. And you can come back tomorrow when we talk about Johnny Depp. I am going to open up the panel in a second, but I want to touch on this before I open up the panel. I can say this. I'm so very proud of him. I'm proud of the person that I see him becoming. I've seen Robbie say some really vile stuff. I'm not going to lie. I've seen him say some vile stuff. Nobody's perfect. We all make mistakes, obviously. But I do see a huge change in him. And I think it has a lot to do with getting older. I think it has a lot to do with love, being in love. And do I agree with everything that Robbie does? Absolutely not. And I'm sure he doesn't agree with everything that I do. But I do consider Robbie as someone who's becoming a friend. He is a friend. I think he's an amazing person. He was there for me when I needed somebody to vent to. And, you know, it's a situation that he knew a lot about. You know, he knew that he could hear the disappointment in my voice, and he was just there for me and was very patient and understanding. And I like the way that he's approaching things. The thing is that I don't have a problem with surviving the storms, but I do have a problem with this.
Make sure you really rub them up your ass crack, John, if you want me to eat your short. I really want that ass juice. Steve Robbie wants some ass juice, okay?
Well, I mean, that would be pretty accurate. I don't know what's wrong with that. Sounds like you're slamming homosexuals, in my opinion, and me because I'm a homosexual, in my opinion.
Sweaty ass juice. I guess he has a sweat problem in his ass crack. You know, Robbie, you could put them.
You know, if you got up and did some cardio, you just might sweat yourself. But you don't. You just sit there and do nothing with your life. But make homophobic slurs, drag people on the internet, and then wonder why they're looking in your direction.
I think Botox would take care of that. You should Botox your ass crack.
See, this woman, I'm going to point out, and I've done this.
This is disgusting, you guys. Like, this is one thing that I don't like this at all. You can say and talk about people as much as you want to. Okay, you can have your opinion about somebody, but once you start talking about things like this and their sexual orientation and making homophobic slurs like this, I have a problem with that. There is so much going on in this world right now. There's so much hate. There is so much that, you know, especially when it comes to mental health and all of these types of things. And when you are speaking in this manner about another man who just happens to be gay, that is the most disgusting thing that you could ever say. I understand that we get mad and we say things that, you know, we regret, and that, you know, we say things out of anger, but these types of things that are being said is completely 100% unacceptable. You can be mad at somebody and call them, you know, an a-hole. You can call them whatever. But making those type of homophobic slurs is disgusting. And it's not something that anyone deserves because, yes, Save Robbie is a strong person. But when you say those types of things, you don't know how that can personally affect somebody. Just like if somebody says, you know, the N-word, well, I'm used to it. I've heard it all my life, but you can say that to somebody else and that could mentally affect somebody. And I'm not into this whole, like I said, and I'll say it again, I'm not into this whole snowflake culture or anything like that. Quit saying mean ass shit. Quit saying racial slurs. Quit saying homophobic slurs. Do not say these types of things. I don't care how mad you are. And I don't care what your situation is. There's no excuse for this type of vile, disgusting talk about another human being. What does anything with, I don't even know what to say. Some people will choose to ignore. I don't. When I get mad about something and I hear something, I'm going to say something. And these are the types of things that I stand against. You don't talk about somebody's life and their lifestyle, whether you're gay or you're not, or it doesn't matter. You shouldn't be speaking in this type of manner about anybody. And that is a very, very homophobic thing to say.
This before, she cannot stand men. She's always attacking not only me, but any man on this platform, making us feel like we're not welcomed to be on the internet on this platform. And she has an anger towards men. She's clearly, in my opinion, maybe been hurt by multiple men. Can't trust. That's why she's more loose and happy. Dorothy, you can. But in order to do that, you have to be lovable. Go make yourself lovable.
My ass crack doesn't sweat, buddy. I don't know what the fuck you're doing.
First of all, any human's ass crack sweats.
Whoops, sorry, you guys. Yes, it's okay. I had to mute it real quick. My son is very, very loud right now. Go back in there. Sorry, you guys. Go. You just take a pause on playing the drums right now, okay? He's playing the drums. Okay. So sorry about that, you guys. All I could say is that those types of stop it. See, that's why I had to stay on mute, you guys. You can do it, but do it out there, please. Okay? I'm almost done. Go. Okay, sorry about that, you guys. Okay, but I just wanted to talk about that because in no way, shape, or form is that okay. That's not okay to talk about somebody who is homosexual and you're talking about that person being intimate, you're talking about that person's backside, all that kind of stuff. Like, please don't do that kind of stuff. And like I said, Robbie, he's strong, but when you're making fun of somebody, because that's what you're doing, you're making fun of somebody's lifestyle, you're making fun of their sexual orientation, that's what you're doing. When you do that type of stuff, you don't know the person and what state their mental health is in. Like I said, and I'll say it again, and I will always say this, people always want to talk about a snowflake society. Just don't say mean shit. Don't say heartless shit to people. Don't say things like that. And every single time a person expresses how they feel, automatically they're considered as a snowflake and they're considered as too sensitive and blah, 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 blah. That's not the way it works. That's just an excuse. That's an excuse to continue to keep doing the same thing over and over and over again and not caring about anyone but yourself. Right, it is. It's violating, it's disgusting. Like, I just couldn't believe it. So I had to say something about that. And like I said, I don't believe in the whole snowflake thing or whatever. If I have a problem with people saying stuff to me, or, you know, whether in making those kind of homophobic slurs is no different than saying the N-word to somebody. Yes, I'm used to it. But yeah, if you may say the N-word to somebody else, and that could affect their mental health. Every individual is different. And although Robbie is strong, there are still people out there who is not as mentally strong as him. And you say those types of things as if it's a joke. That's not a joke. That's not funny. It's just not. Like, that's just something that I had to address, because people just don't care about others, you know. And it's so easy to say, if you don't like it, get off the internet, blah, 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 blah. Okay, well, how about you stop being an asshole? How about that? Did you ever think about that? How about not say horrible, hateful things? Instead of telling somebody to get off the internet, how about take it another direction and just not be mean and not say mean things and not make homophobic slurs? How about that? Is that better? Okay, let me read some comments. Hey, Lindsay. Hey, Broken Justice. How are you guys doing? And another number one problem is the lies. They need to stop lying on people. That damages people. That gets them shunned and gets people to turn their backs on for no reason. I agree. Watch a 20-year lid episode of Wife Spot today. A Black lady was placed in a racist home. What? Instead of hate, she chose education and love. She changed their lives. She reminded me of you, Teaya. Oh, thank you, that girl. That is the ultimate compliment. Thank you, beautiful. I appreciate you. And they act like they are the only ones that are smart enough or good enough to to tell us all we want to do because they are right, and they do the opposite. Makes no sense. I agree. Doesn't matter how strong you are, extended abuse affects people. I agree. But some people can take it. Some people have thick skin, but then some people cannot, you know, regardless of whether it matters or not. What I'm trying to say is, just don't say those types of things. In no way, shape, or form should anyone be saying those type. What does that? You could say anything, but making those kind of homophobic slurs like that, that should never be ignored. Okay, not in my eyes. Her stream was removed because of this rant. Yet she wants people to believe it's people mass reporting. Of course, same narrative. Right, we pay for our internet. Exactly. Exactly. Broken Justice, only 6 away. Wow. You'll be there this week. Absolutely. Everybody make sure you go subscribe to you. You did say M was not physically abused, but mentally, then stop speaking. No. Sorry, supporting hands, but you better go back and watch the video, because that's not what I said. I said mentally, that growing up in a household when you're the only Black person in that household, if you would have listened to it, I said growing up in a household where you're the only Black person in that household can affect you mentally. But that has nothing to do with her ever being removed from her home. I've even spoken to Natasha about that. When we were cool, I said, I know what it's like to grow up around people that are different than you. And then Natasha reminded me that she has wonderful role models in her life that she looks up to that look like her. and the discussion was dropped. So take that narrative somewhere else because it's not going to work here. I'm sorry if comprehension is a problem for you, but I don't know what to tell you. You didn't listen to the video. I said mentally how hard it is to grow up being in a household where you're the only Black child. Okay. And then that is hard because I know what it's like. But that doesn't mean that I think that she's being any kind of situation. And I'm not discussing that again. Like I said, I know what I said. Go listen to it and maybe listen to it a little better than what you did. Okay? Because you're wrong. Just because I said mentally and then I stopped and then I said mentally, I know how it is to grow up in a household when you are not a household, but growing up around people who look differently than you. And that is hard. That is hard. And then I explained how Natasha has always reminded me and told me when we had that discussion on her panel that she makes sure that she has positive role models that look like her. And that is a good thing. That's wonderful. So quit trying to flip the narrative because the shit's not going to work. Go listen to it again. Supporting hands, please go back and listen to this entire video. She said, but mentally, and then went on to explain that later. She never said she thought she was mentally abused. That didn't come out of my mouth, and they know it, Megan. They're trying to flip the narrative. I'm sorry if your comprehension is off, okay? I'm not against Teaya. I did watch that live. Yes, but you don't have to be against me. You're not. You are perpetuating your own narrative, supporting hands, because I said mentally, and then I stopped and I said mentally, I know how it is growing up in a household where people look differently than you. My stepdad was white. My mom was married to him for 25 years. And even though, I wasn't a household, I grew up predominantly around Caucasian people. So it was hard for me. And I've always spoke that to, not always, but I've had that conversation with her herself. And she told me and assured me that she has those type of role models in her life. And that's a good thing to do. That's the only thing that I said. I never said that she was any kind of abused. Sorry. Okay. They're trying to stir the pot and flip the script. I know, Amber. That's what I mean. I tried to explain what I meant by that. And I'm glad that she has that in her life. But I will never speak ever in defense of that woman, ever. I was even defending her with that, with making sure that she has positive role models in her life that looks like her, because that is important. I was even defending her with that, but yet the narrative is still being twisted. So now, fuck it. I'm never speaking. Like I said, she had no problem with us defending when we were cool with her, but now that we're not cool with her anymore, we don't like her. So because we don't like her, no matter what we do, even if it's in defense of her, it's wrong. No. Fuck that. Okay, so yeah, you guys, I'm very upset about that rant. And I was. When I heard it, when I listened to Robbie's live, I wasn't able to be there on the live. But once I listened to it, I was very upset because I don't like to hear stuff like that. And yes, I guess you can say I'm sensitive to those types of things. I'm sensitive to homophobic slurs. I'm sensitive to racial slurs. I'm sensitive when people make fun of them mentally disabled. I'm sensitive to all that shit. You can call me a snowflake if you want to. I really don't give a fuck. Okay? I really don't. Because I can tell you right now, there's a lot of people that wouldn't say behind my back. They wouldn't say that to my face. I can tell you that much. Being a snowflake, or however people their definition of it. In my opinion, that's just an excuse to get people to shut up about the things that matter. And if you shut up, personally, I think that's what makes it worse. When you try to slide it under the rug and pretend like it's not there and you don't call people out on these types of things, that's when it continues. But if you do call people out and let them know this is wrong, that's why I like, the LGBTQ can be kind of controversial sometimes, but they do defend what's right. And I love that. But at the same time, I'm not going to be okay with those kind of homophobic slurs. Nobody should. Everybody should have a problem with that. Everyone should. And this is not, if she hadn't said that, I wouldn't even be talking about it right now. Because what's happening between Save Robbie and Surviving the Storm is between them. But when you start doing those types of things, that's disgusting things, I have something to say about that. Oh my God, I didn't even come on camera yet. And thank you guys for telling me that I was muted. I'm sorry, I should have told you guys that I was going to mute the damn thing. You guys are probably like, what the hell's going on? But you guys know that you guys are amazing. I like how you guys can listen to me no matter what, even when I'm venting, because I do vent a lot. I mean, I don't vent a lot, and it does seem like I have been addressing a lot of things. And it's so crazy to me, you guys. It's so crazy to me, the drama that comes along with being that woman's friend, and then when you're not her friend. There's so many people that it's like you're being watched. And there's so many people that say things like really mean things. When you're cool with her, people are attacking you, people that don't like her, and when you're not cool with her, people are still attacking you. It's like you can't escape it. And I'm sure Robbie and Siren, people who have been cool with her, understand what I'm trying to say. You're damned if you do, damned if you don't. So I do understand that it feels like I am always I understand how it feels like I'm always addressing this type of stuff, but I'm always going to address things that I feel is right. And I don't feel comfortable when it comes to a child. When it comes to a child, I feel like it's necessary to speak up, to speak up for yourself and to give your thoughts and say, look, no, this is not going to happen. You are not going to just throw me under the bus like this and make me feel like I'm just this horrible, horrible person because I was defending you. You don't have to close the door. Thank you, Megan. Yeah, it's warm in here. It is so hot, you guys. Robbie High Five was usually aren't lied about in the same life that she does. Megan VR, I have to go. My girlfriend is in a really bad situation and you don't have to explain, Goose. Thank you for being here. I'm going to be ending this in a minute anyway. But anyway, I wanted to thank you, Amber's Alert. I wanted to address this. In no way, shape, or form do I ever think that those types of things are right. It's wrong on so many levels. And hold on, you guys. I'm never going to be okay with it. Please stop doing these types of things. I know that surviving the storms can be pretty vile. Yeah. Thank you, Robbie. She can be pretty vile. But when you cross the line, when you cross that line and you're talking about doing homophobic slurs and that kind of stuff, no. I'm not going to deal with that, especially when you're talking about somebody that I consider a friend. So, and I would hope, no, Robbie has defended me when he defends what's right. And like I said, I have seen Robbie say some vile things. I'm not taking away from that. I'm not saying that, but that's in the past. And to be honest with you, I think he's earned his right to say whatever the hell he wants now, because in a lot of ways, I don't do that, but I can understand why he would. When you are being attacked because of your sexual orientation and somebody's talking about your backside, I don't know. I guess I would be mad too. And I guess I would flip out too. And I guess I would probably say some mean things too. But I can honestly say that Save Robbie has defended me when not a lot of people were. And I appreciate that with him, but that's not why I'm doing this. That was disgusting. That was disgusting. And it's wrong. Please quit doing these types of things, you guys. It's not right. Ugh, I can't. And you say that video was taken down? I hope so. These people that do this call people names and use racial slurs and homophobic slurs and lies, they're cowards. They would never face his. Absolutely not. And that's what I'm saying. You can call me a snowflake if you want to, but I bet you wouldn't say it to my face. I tried being quiet and I tried being loud. I tried, everything. Nothing has worked. They just don't ever shut up. They just continue with their lives. I mean, it's just unbelievable. I agree, Broken Justice. Imagine if it was a guy saying that about a girl. Exactly. Thank you, Amber's Alert, for bringing that up. If this was the other way around, I'm going to say that Surviving the Storms will be losing her shit. If the tables were turned and Save Robbie was saying this about her and saying disgusting things like that, I guarantee you she would be all up and down all over the place talking about what a horrible piece of crap, all kinds of stuff like that, and calling him out and probably trying to get his video taken down. It would be a mess. That's very sexist too. Just stop saying these types of things. Just quit. It's hurtful, it's disgusting, and you wouldn't like it if it's being done to you. Oh, people. Okay, so I thank you guys for being here. I appreciate you guys taking the time to listen to me. I just wanted to address those couple of things. I will be talking about the Johnny Depp case tomorrow. Hopefully I'll be able to do that. I think you guys are amazing. Thank you for participating. Thanks for all of your opinions, your input. I do realize that it can get annoying because obviously I do know that it's better. First of all, I don't ignore people who make homophobic slurs. I don't ignore that. Just like racial slurs, that's how I feel. But when it comes to that woman, I do want to be very clear that I ignore a lot of the things that is said. But I won't ignore things like this because it's always taken out of context, misconstrued, taken in a way that you're saying something horribly wrong. And I'm not down with that shit. And I'm not okay with that. I would never, ever, ever talk about a child. I would never talk about where a child belongs. And if I could defend somebody, I'm going to try to do that. But I will learn my lesson here because you're damned if you do, damned if you don't with that woman. And I will never, ever defend that woman again. Even though I know it's right, I would never do it because I think that no matter what, unless you're standing with her, you're against her. And that's ridiculous because at the end of the day, not everybody's going to be standing with you. People don't like you. I think she's a horrible, nasty, racist, vile person. That's my opinion of her. But if you want to support her, go ahead, do you. And I hope and pray that the same thing doesn't happen to you that's happened to 90% of the people that are cool with her, friends with her, acquaintances, cordial, whatever. Stand up against homophobic slurs. Stand up against racial slurs. Stand up to that shit. Don't be afraid. That's the problem. So many people are afraid because they want to appease people and satisfy people. It's the easy way out. Well, that's not life. Life isn't easy. It's not always easy to stand up for what's right, but somebody's got to do it. And even if you're standing alone, then you're standing alone. Unfortunately, Dorothy seems as if she didn't have one good model within her life. Her moral compass is off, and she'll never recognize it because she lacks the ability. I agree, and I think that we need to go to each other's channels and sit there, even though the content, if it's boring or whatever, we still need to show up and show support. I agree. Broken Justice, 100%. Stand your ground, girl. You are beautiful, strong, sensitive, and very intelligent. Keep up the good work. Thank you so much, Debbie. I appreciate you. You mean a lot. Show them that we are going to break away from them and they are not going to exist. Do this. I'm gonna leave the channel. So I agree, Broken Justice. And that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm not going to stop sticking up for what's right, in my opinion. And it's not easy to be quiet. Imagine if it was a guy. Okay, I read that. Oh, Lord, it would give her content for a year if that was done to her. Exactly. But I appreciate all of you guys for being here. It means so much to me. You guys are amazing. I will see you guys tomorrow when we talk about the Johnny Depp case. I 100% thank you guys for being so supportive and listening to me rant. When it comes to kids and slurs, I'm always going to stand up for those types of things. I hope you guys have an amazing rest of your night or day, wherever you are. And thank you to my mods who did such a great job. Thank you to everybody who came in here to show me support. I love you guys, and I will see you guys tomorrow. I love y'all. Deuces.